Transport Minister Sindiswe Chikunga is appealing to the public to adhere to the rules of the road and avoid driving under the influence of alcohol this festive season. And this comes after 7 people already lost their lives and more than 50 others were injured in a crash in Mpumalanga. That was just this past weekend. At the same time, 10 people have been arrested in Limpopo for driving, or for drunken driving, I should say, in the last 48 hours. They're set to appear in court soon. The minister joins us now about her festive season plans and what the kind of strategy is to keep our roads safe. Minister, it's great to have you on Newzroom Afrika. Thanks very much indeed for making time. And you know, as we begin our discussion, I'm very aware that for many people, this sounds more like an echo chamber than a new discussion at all. We always ask this existential question about how we can ensure that we keep the roads safe. And despite the conversations and the many campaigns, it seems we're just not getting the results we want. Why is that?
Thank you very much. Good morning to you, Ayanda, and your listeners. The festive season road safety campaign has already started. We launched it on the 26th of November. And already we are seeing something that we have not seen maybe in the past, where people travel even more during the first week of December. They normally travel during the 2nd and, of course, a weekend following the 16th of December. But this time around, a number of people are traveling even from the 1st of December. Maybe this is associated with the closing of schools on the 30th of November and families having already planned that they will be traveling during that time. But also what we are observing is that the accidents for now have not occurred on our main routes, which we, in our plan and strategy, we said we will be targeting because they are hot spots. It seems like many of the accidents that have happened are happening in residential areas because many have driven and they've arrived at their destinations. And of course, also we're seeing some accidents that are involving buses. And the number of accidents are also happening during the night because people are planning to drive at night than to drive during the day. And this is what we are observing during the first 2 weeks of the festive season. And our strategy has been that, and will continue to be that, we are anticipating that traffic volumes will increase following this coming weekend. In fact, before this coming weekend, many of the industries will be closing, and people will therefore be traveling. What we are saying to our travelers and South Africans is that please plan to travel during the day than to plan to travel during the night. Some of the people that drive at night and some who are also involved in accidents, in the statistics that we have and the features that are coming to us right now, many of them are people who do not have the required documents such as the driving license, and they get involved in accident, and whatever happens to them, for instance, you are a driver and you are in an accident, it doesn't matter how injured you are, or even if you pass on, road accident fund will definitely not cover you because you do not meet the requirement of driving a car. And these are the features that we are seeing. And the drivers, I think we've now had about 2 buses that are involved in accidents, and we think that bus drivers and bus owners should ensure that the buses are roadworthy and that there is a support driver in an event the first driver is exhausted, so that somebody else must take on and drive the vehicle than just to have one bus driver for a longer distance. And these are the things that we are seeing. But also there are quite a number of cultural events, as many of the cultural schools, initiation schools, are closing in provinces such as Limpopo, Eastern Cape, Northwest. And people from these events and these parties, they are therefore driving cars in residential areas under the influence of alcohol. And this is seriously worrying.
Right.
We are extremely concerned with patterns that we are seeing right now, that we are approaching a weekend with 2 holidays on Friday and on Saturday.
Absolutely. And it's interesting you mentioned eligibility for accident funds because the RAF has been in the news recently, and I'll ask you to weigh in on that in just a moment. But these trends that you're seeing, that most of these accidents, at least so far, are taking place within regions as opposed to on our national roads, also brings into sharp focus this conversation about how much attention those roads are getting, because it must have been earlier this year when there was a big conversation in national discourse around whether or not South Africa's roads are actually fit for purpose. And the defense from some of your colleagues in government was that our national roads are fine. It's more roads within metros that need attention, where there are these kind of dangerous potholes that could very well lead to the accidents that we've seen so far. How much attention are those roads getting, Minister?
That will actually account for engineering factors. But can I say this? The majority of people that are involved in accidents, residential areas, are involved in accidents under the influence of alcohol. They are driving being drunk. Because yes, indeed, potholes are an issue. But you are able to negotiate the pothole, even the sinkhole for that matter, if you are sober-minded. But if you're drunk and the pedestrian is drunk and you put the family in the car as a father, mother, children, but you know as a father that you are drunk, I mean, you're putting the whole family in danger. And that is what is the problem right now. So yes, there will be potholes, and that will be the issue that we are attending to through Operation Valazonke. But as a matter of fact, the statistics that we have is actually saying it's people that are drunk. Even in those residential areas, it's not like all the roads that are potholes. There are those that do not have potholes, and yet there are still accidents because for whatever reasons, people decided to travel early in the month. But, and which of course we don't say it is wrong. But now they have arrived, they are therefore now doing as they wish. And we do have resources that we can deploy, but they are not adequate to be everywhere in the residential areas. Remember, what it means now is that we need to use the municipality traffic officers. And the municipalities have the X number of traffic officers that can also identify hot spots. But if everyone is drunk and everyone is driving as they wish, then there will not be enough resources. And that is why South Africans are called upon to remember that it is them who are driving cars, and also it is them who are causing these accidents. And of course, we can be responsible enough and ensure that these accidents are not happening. I just want also to mention the fact that we're also seeing quite a number of overloaded buses being involved in accidents. And in those buses, there are families. They are traveling, but they're overloaded. If we can also look into that, because once you put your whole family in a buggy and it's overloaded and anything happens, you actually are saying there's no family. And we are calling upon the drivers to say, even buggies have limited numbers. You cannot put any number in a buggy because it is a number. In our approach, like I've said, which we'll still have to continue to implement, we have identified hotspots, particularly on our national roads. We'll continue to do that as we approach this coming weekend, this coming long weekend,
right,
and also during this week, so that we are there to ensure that our people are not involved in accidents. For now, we have not seen many accidents, but of course, we will be there during the coming long weekend.
All right. Minister, I have to ask you this. You mentioned, as I spoke earlier, about the eligibility for accident funds, and it brings to mind for me, and I'm sure for many people watching, the Road Accident Fund. And in the past couple of weeks, it's really been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons, with double payments being made and attorneys, lawyers supposedly interfering and not ensuring that the funds that are actually being claimed make it to their beneficiaries. More recently, though, you spoke about this in Parliament when you spoke about this dispute between the RAF and the Office of the Auditor General around accounting standards, essentially pushing both bodies to court. There's a lot taking place at the RAF, and it's not surprising that it's being described as one of the biggest threats to South Africa's fiscus, right, to the national finances of this country. How worried are you about the state of affairs there, especially because if we do see an uptick in accidents in the festive season, as has been the trend over the past couple of years, it means there's going to be an uptick in the traffic for people at the RAF?
Maybe starting with the issue between Road Accident Fund and the Auditor General. This is the matter that is receiving our attention. And as you heard when we appeared before SCOPA, we have established a technical committee comprising of the Road Accident Fund, the Auditor General's Office, ASB, and of course the Accountant General as well, to come and look at this one issue, to say what is it that we think Road Accident Fund is. Is it an insurance, or it is what is this, a medical scheme, security, social medical scheme, social security scheme. That is what is correct, yes. So that we then say, if that is the case, which standard is suitable for Road Accident Fund? And we think that is a technical matter that we need to respond to. And then, of course, the issue about the court, the board agreed that it's going to look at all the information before it. And at the end of January, we'll go back to SCOPA to say this is the decision about the case. Right. Our view is that both these entities should not solve their problems in courts. And that is what we are saying as the department. Otherwise, there's a lot of good job that is happening at Road Accident Fund. Some of these double payments that you are referring to were discovered by Road Accident Fund and made those who are double dipping to pay back the money to Road Accident Fund. Some said they will not do it, and Road Accident Fund said you are going to do it, and they've done it. They've actually been able to save up to about 23 billion rand out of monies that have been spent willy-nilly in the past. And that is saving the money for the taxpayers who buy petrol or fuel and pay the Road Accident Fund levy. Right. As they do that. And I think that is what we want to see happening. Indeed, the issue about lawyers and so on, that is an issue that we are paying attention to, including amending the Road Accident Fund itself.
All right, Minister Chikunga, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Hopefully we are able to get to the bottom of what's taking place there, given just how important the RAF is in this country. The Transport Minister in South Africa is Minister Sindiswe Chikunga. Once again, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us.